For weeks I lived empty, turned my pain into patience, and collected coins with trembling hands. But when I finally placed the gift before her, she smiled at me with pity and showed me another man's riches. I need to get this out before it destroys what's left of me. 3 months ago, I was planning to propose to Sarah. We'd been together 4 years. She was everything I thought I wanted: smart, kind, patient with my jokes. She deserved so much better than what I gave her. It started with feeling invisible. Sarah got promoted to senior marketing director. Suddenly she was traveling, networking, glowing with this confidence I'd never seen. Meanwhile, I was stuck in the same dead-end accounting job, watching Netflix alone while she conquered the world. The loneliness crept in slow. She'd come home exhausted, talking about colleagues I didn't know, inside jokes I wasn't part of. I felt like furniture in our own apartment. When I tried to share my day, her eyes would glaze over. "That's nice," she'd say, already scrolling her phone. I started going to this coffee shop near work, just to feel human again. That's where I met Emma. Emma was a barista, 23, with this infectious laugh that made everyone around her smile. She remembered my order after 2 visits. Asked about my day like she actually cared. Made jokes about the pretentious customers. I found staying longer each time, pretending to work on my laptop just to be near someone who saw me. "Look stressed," she said one Tuesday, sliding into the chair across from me during her break. "Rough day?" I should have said yes and left. Instead, I told her about feeling stuck. About Sarah being too busy for us. About feeling like I was disappearing. Emma really listened. Not the polite nods Sarah gave me anymore, but genuine attention. She laughed at my stories. Asked follow questions. Made me feel interesting again. "Girlfriend sounds like she's taking for granted," she said, her hand brushing mine across the table. "Deserves someone who appreciates point." That touch burned through me. It had been weeks since Sarah had touched me without checking her phone over my shoulder. When Emma looked at me, I felt alive again. Wanted again. The next day, I found buying her favorite muffin with my coffee. She beamed when I handed it to her. "Didn't have to do that," she said, but her smile said otherwise. "I wanted to," I replied, and meant it. For the first time in months, I wanted something. Someone wanted me back. It became our routine. I'd buy her little gifts, pastries, flowers from the grocery store. A book she mentioned liking. Nothing expensive, but each gift made her light. Made me feel like I mattered to someone again. Sarah barely noticed I was leaving early for work, staying out later. She was buried in her phone, planning business trips, taking calls during dinner. When I tried to talk to her about us, about spending time together, she'd sigh like I was another item on her to-do list. "Can we talk about this later? I have a presentation tomorrow." Later never came. 3 weeks into my coffee shop visits, Emma asked if I wanted to grab dinner after her shift. "Just as friends," she said, "to talk somewhere quieter." I said yes. We went to this little Italian place she knew. She wore this blue dress that made her eyes shine. Asked me about my childhood, my dreams, things Sarah had stopped caring about years ago. She laughed at my bad impressions of our old professors. Told me about her art classes, her plans to move to the city. "We're really funny," she said, leaning closer across the table. "I were the class clown in school." "Guilty," I admitted, feeling younger than I had in months. When she reached for my hand over dessert, I didn't pull away. Her fingers were warm, soft. She traced circles on my palm, while talking about her favorite movies. Every touch sent electricity through me. "I should probably head home," I said finally, though I didn't want to. "Of course," she said, but didn't let go of my hand. "Girlfriend's waiting." The way she said girlfriend made Sarah sound like a burden. Like something holding me back from happiness. I walked Emma to her car. She hugged me goodbye, longer than friends hug. I could smell her perfume, feel her heartbeat against my chest. When she pulled back, she looked at me with those bright eyes. "Thank for tonight," she whispered. "I feel like I can talk to about anything." I wanted to kiss her so badly it. Instead, I stepped back, hands shaking. "I had a great time too. I managed." She smiled, got in her car, drove away. I stood there in the parking lot for 10 minutes, replaying every moment, every touch, every look. When I got home, Sarah was already asleep, laptop still open beside her. I lay awake all night thinking about Emma's laugh. Her hand in mine. How alive she made me feel. That was the moment I crossed the line. Even though nothing physical had happened yet. In my heart, I'd already chosen Emma over Sarah. I just didn't have the courage to admit it. The gifts started getting more expensive. A nice bracelet. Concert tickets. I told I was just being friendly, but I was lying. I was courting her. Trying to win her over while Sarah paid our rent, bought our groceries, loved me faithfully. Emma never asked about Sarah anymore. Started calling me pet names. Sweetie. Handsome. Texted me good morning and good night. I deleted the messages so Sarah wouldn't see, but I saved them all in a hidden folder on my phone like love letters. 4 weeks later, Emma invited me to her apartment to see some paintings she'd been working on. I knew what I was really being invited to, knew where this was heading. I went anyway. Her place was small but cozy, candles everywhere. She'd made dinner, pasta, and the paintings were beautiful, full of color and everything my world with Sarah felt like it was missing. "You're so talented," I said, standing close to her as she explained her technique. "Really think so?" she asked, looking at me with those eyes that made me forget everything else. "I know so," I whispered. That's when she kissed me, soft at first, then deeper when I kissed her back. Her hands in my hair, mine on her waist, pulling her closer. For those few minutes, nothing else existed. Not Sarah sleeping at home. Not 4 years of memories. Not the ring I'd been saving for in my desk drawer. Just Emma's lips, her warmth, the feeling of being wanted so completely it made my chest ache. When we broke apart, reality crashed back. "I should go," I said, but my voice had no conviction. "Should?" she asked, her fingers trailing down my chest. "Or do wanna stay?" I stayed. I won't go into details about what happened next. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I betrayed everything Sarah believed about me. About us. About love itself. I betrayed her with someone who made me feel special, while Sarah worked overtime to build our future. Someone who gave me attention while Sarah sacrificed her free time for our shared dreams. When I left Emma's apartment at 2 a.m., I felt hollow. Empty in a way I'd never experienced. The excitement was gone, replaced by this crushing weight in my chest. Sarah was still asleep when I got home. She looked so peaceful, trusting. Her engagement ring was sitting on the nightstand where I'd hidden it weeks ago, waiting for the right moment. Looking at it now, knowing what I'd just done, I wanted to throw. I'd been collecting coins with trembling hands for months, saving every dollar for that ring. Working extra hours while she traveled. Skipping lunches, walking to work instead of taking the bus. All so I could give her something beautiful. Something worthy of her love. But when I finally worked the courage to place it before her 3 days later, kneeling in our living room with my heart hammering, she looked at me with such sadness in her eyes. "I can't," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. I know about Emma. My world collapsed in that moment. She'd known. Had known for weeks, apparently. Her coworker had seen us at the restaurant. Another friend spotted us walking together downtown. While I was sneaking around, feeling clever and alive, Sarah was dying inside. Watching me slip away. Hoping I'd come back to her before it was too late. I tried to pretend it wasn't happening. She said, her voice breaking. I thought maybe if I ignored it, remember loved me. But I hadn't remembered. I'd forgotten everything that mattered. Sarah had already packed her bags. Had already found a new apartment. Had already told her family. Her friends. People who'd loved me like their own son. Who'd welcomed me into their lives. Who'd planned to dance at our wedding. The worst part, she said, looking at the ring I'd placed so carefully on the coffee table, is that I was going to surprise tonight. I had something special planned. She pulled out her phone, showed me photos of a vacation she'd booked. 2 weeks in Ireland. The trip we'd dreamed about since college. She'd been working those extra hours to save for it. To give us something beautiful. Something to remember. While I was betraying her, she was planning our future. As she walked toward the door with her suitcase, she turned back one last time. I hope she was worth it, she said. Not angry, just tired, broken. The door closed. 4 years ended. And I realized that for weeks I'd lived empty. Turned my pain into patience. Collected coins with trembling hands, for someone who'd never needed my gifts at all. She'd needed my faithfulness, and I'd given her betrayal instead. The silence in our apartment was deafening. Sarah's coffee mug still sat in the sink from that morning. Her favorite blanket folded neatly on the couch. Little pieces of her scattered everywhere, but she was gone. I called in sick to work. Couldn't face pretending everything was normal when my entire world had imploded. Instead, I sat on our couch, my couch now, staring at that engagement ring on the coffee table. 3 months of overtime shifts. 3 months of skipped meals and walked commutes. All for nothing. My phone buzzed. Emma. Hey handsome. Want to grab lunch today? I'm thinking that cute place downtown. The casual cheerfulness of her message made my stomach turn. She had no idea what had just happened. No idea that her sweetie had just lost everything that mattered. I didn't respond. She texted again an hour later. Then called. I let it go to voicemail. Hi, it's me. Or probably just busy with work stuff. Call me back when can. Miss already. Like we were some epic love story instead of a betrayal that destroyed 4 years of someone else's. That evening, I finally worked the courage to call my best friend Marcus. He'd been Sarah's friend first actually. They went to college together. He was supposed to be my best man. "Dude, where have been?" he said when he picked. "Sarah called me crying this morning. Said guys broke." "What happened?" The concern in his voice almost broke me. Marcus didn't know. Sarah hadn't told him the truth. Even in her pain she was protecting me from the full shame of what I'd done. "I messed," I said, my voice cracking. "Really bad." "What do you mean messed? Like guys had a..." "I cheated on her." Marcus. Silence. Long horrible silence. "What?" "I cheated. There was this girl at a coffee shop, and I don't know what I was thinking." "Are kidding me right now?" His voice went cold. "Sarah, cheated on Sarah." "Marcus, I know how it sounds." "No, don't." He was getting louder now. "Have no idea how this sounds. Sarah is the best person I know. She loves more than anything. She's been planning future while we're..." He couldn't even finish the sentence. "I know." I whispered. "I know I messed." "Messed?" "Dude didn't mess. Destroyed something beautiful." Sarah called me sobbing because she found out from Jenny that we're seen around town with some girl. She had to hear about her boyfriend's affair from a coworker. My chest felt like it was caving in. She didn't tell the details. She didn't have to. She just said guys were over and she needed space. Even now, she's protecting from looking like the complete piece of garbage are. The words hit like physical blows. But he wasn't wrong. Sarah spent the last month working double shifts to save for some surprise trip for guys. Marcus continued. She was so excited about it. Kept asking me what kind of places d'd want to see in Ireland. Ireland. The trip we'd dreamed about since sophomore year. She'd remembered. She'd made it happen. While I was buying Emma pastries and concert tickets, Sarah was working herself to exhaustion to give us something beautiful. Something we'd planned together when we were young and believed in forever. "Marcus, don't. Just don't. I can't even look at right now." He hung. I tried calling him back. Straight to voicemail. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about Sarah. This was about everyone who'd invested in us. Marcus, who'd listened to me talk about marriage for years. Sarah's parents, who'd treated me like the son they never had. My own parents, who adored Sarah and had already started making wedding plans. My mom called that night like she did every Wednesday. "Hi sweetheart. How are and Sarah doing? Did ask her yet?" She knew about the ring. I'd shown it to her last month, nervous and excited. She'd cried happy tears and started talking about grandchildren. "Mom." I started, then broke down completely. "Honey, what's wrong? Is Sarah okay?" Between sobs I told her everything. The loneliness, Emma, the betrayal. How Sarah had left, how I'd destroyed the best thing in my for someone who didn't even know my middle name. Mom was quiet for a long time after I finished. "I'm disappointed in," she said finally. "More disappointed than I've ever been." Those words deeper than Marcus's anger. My mother had never said she was disappointed in me. Even when I failed classes, got arrested for drinking, crashed her car. She'd always found ways to support me. "I raised better than this," she continued. "We taught that when love someone, protect them. Honor them. Don't sneak around behind their back like a teenager." "I know, Mom. I don't know what I was thinking." "Weren't thinking about Sarah, that's for sure. That girl has been nothing but good to. She helped through Dad's cancer scare. Supported when we're laid off. Loved when we're at worst." Each example felt like a nail in my coffin. Sarah had been my rock through every crisis. When Dad had his health scare 2 years ago, she'd driven me to the hospital at 3 a.m. and held me while I cried in the waiting room. When I got laid off from my previous job, she'd covered our expenses for 3 months without making me feel like a burden. She'd loved me selflessly, completely. And I'd repaid her with lies and betrayal. "Father and I won't be able to look Sarah's parents in the eye at church anymore," Mom said. "Do understand that. We've been family friends for 4 years. Now we're the parents of the boy who broke their daughter's heart." I hadn't thought about that. About how my choices would ripple through both our families. About awkward grocery store encounters and ruined friendships that extended far beyond just me and Sarah. "I'm sorry, Mom. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to Sarah. Though I doubt she'll want to hear from anytime soon." After Mom hung, I sat in the dark for hours. Emma texted twice more. I finally responded, "Can't see anymore." "It's over," she called immediately. "What do you mean it's over? What happened? Did I do something wrong?" The innocence in her voice was almost funny. Like she genuinely didn't understand that what we'd done had consequences. "My girlfriend found out about us." "Oh." A pause. That sucks. 4 years of love reduced to, that sucks. So what now? She asked. I mean, guys were having problems anyway, right? Maybe this is for the best. For the best. Like Sarah's heartbreak was some kind of favor I'd done her. Emma, we can't see each other anymore. But why? Are free now. We can actually be together without all the sneaking around. The casual way she talked about Sarah's pain, like it was just an inconvenience that had finally been cleared away, made me sick. Because I love her. I said. I love Sarah, and I ruined everything. If love her, then why did I hung? She texted me for 3 days straight. Long paragraphs about how we were meant to be together, how Sarah obviously didn't appreciate me, how I was making a mistake choosing someone who'd let herself go, and become too career-focused, to care about my needs. Each message showed me how little Emma actually knew about love, about sacrifice, about the difference between wanting someone and loving them. Sarah had never let herself go. She'd grown, become stronger, more confident, more successful. Instead of celebrating that growth, supporting her dreams the way she'd supported mine, I'd felt by it, had let my own insecurities turn me into someone I didn't recognize. Emma had made me feel wanted, but Sarah had loved me. Past tense. Because I'd thrown that love away for temporary validation from someone who saw me as an escape from her barista job, not as a partner to build a with. I blocked Emma's number on day 4. Work was. Everyone knew Sarah. She'd been to office parties, company picnics, holiday gatherings. People asked about her constantly. How's Sarah liking her new position? 2 set a wedding date yet? Tell Sarah I said he. Each question was a reminder of what I'd lost. Of the future I'd incinerated for a few weeks of feeling special. My coworker Janet cornered me by the coffee machine on Friday. I heard and Sarah broke, she said gently. I'm sorry. 2 seemed so happy together. Thanks, I managed. If don't mind me asking, what happened? Seemed so in love. I couldn't tell her the truth. Couldn't admit that I'd been the villain in my own love story, so I gave her the same generic response I'd been using all week. We just grew apart. But Janet had been married for 25 years. She saw right through it. Growing apart doesn't usually happen overnight, she said. Sarah was just here last month for the Christmas party, talking about vacation plans. The vacation plans. Ireland. The surprise she'd been working toward while I was working toward destroying us. That weekend, I drove past our favorite restaurant. The place where I'd planned to propose before everything went wrong. Through the window, I could see couples sharing dessert, holding hands across candlelit tables, looking at each other the way Sarah used to look at me. Before I'd taught her that love could be a lie. I parked outside Sarah's new apartment building that Sunday. Not to bother her or beg for forgiveness, just to with the reality of what I'd done. She lived there now because of me. Had to start over because of me. Had to explain to everyone she cared about that the man she'd trusted had betrayed her. Around noon, I saw her come out with a box of what looked like my things. Photos, probably, gifts I'd given her. Reminders of 4 years she now wished she could forget. She looked smaller somehow. Fragile. The confident woman who'd been thriving in her career looked broken. Defeated. And it was my fault. She loaded the box into her car and drove away, probably to throw away 4 years of memories like garbage. Because that's what I'd turned them into. Garbage. That night, I found standing in our old apartment, my apartment, holding that engagement ring. The ring I'd saved for. Planned for. Dreamed about placing on her finger while she said yes, and we started our forever. Instead, I'd placed it before her like an apology that came too late. And she'd looked at me with such disappointment it physically. It's been 6 months since Sarah left. 6 months since I destroyed the only real love I've ever known. I keep telling I'm writing this as a warning to others, but honestly, I think I just need to admit the full scope of what I've lost. What my choices really cost. The apartment feels like a museum of my failures. Sarah took her things, but everywhere I look, there are ghosts. The kitchen table where we used to eat breakfast together, planning our days. The couch where we'd watch movies on Friday nights, her head on my shoulder. The bedroom where she used to fall asleep reading, glasses sliding down her nose. I tried redecorating, bought new furniture, painted the walls. But can't paint over memories. Can't buy way out of emptiness. Work became my escape, but even that turned. The promotion I'd been passed over for last year. It went to someone else again. Turns out, having a reputation as someone who destroys good relationships doesn't inspire confidence in character or judgment. My boss never said it directly, but I heard him tell HR that leadership positions require people others can trust. Trust. Such a small word for something so impossible to rebuild. Marcus never called me back. I tried reaching out a few times, but he'd made his choice. Team Sarah. Which was the right choice, obviously, but it left me completely alone. Turns out, when betray someone everyone loves, don't just lose them. Lose everyone who loves them too. Sarah's sister Emma, different Emma, thankfully blocked me on all social media after leaving me one message. Don't deserve to see her moving on. But I found ways to check anyway. Because I enough to keep picking at the wound. She looked happy in the photos I glimpsed before getting blocked everywhere else. Traveling with friends. Laughing at work events. Glowing with the confidence I'd fallen in love with but somehow felt by. There was one photo that destroyed me completely. Sarah at some company retreat, arms around colleagues, genuine smile lighting her face. The caption read, "So grateful for friends who remind, what worth? What worth?" I'd made her question her worth. The woman who'd loved me through unemployment, family crisis, and my worst moods had started doubting herself because I couldn't handle her success. 2 months ago, I saw her at the grocery store. My heart stopped. She looked beautiful, healthy. Like she was sleeping better, eating better, living better. Without me, I hid behind the cereal aisle like a coward, watching her shop. She was buying ingredients for something elaborate, probably having friends over. Making new memories to replace the ones I'd poisoned. When she reached for something on a high shelf, a guy appeared beside her. Tall, kind face, helping her without being asked. The natural way he handed her the item, the way she smiled and said thank told me everything. This wasn't their first meeting. My chest felt like it was collapsing. Sarah was moving on. Had moved on. Was building something new with someone who probably appreciated her ambition instead of resenting it. I stood there in aisle 7, holding a box of cereal I didn't want, watching the woman I'd planned to marry thank another man for basic kindness. The kind of small gesture I used to do without thinking, back when I deserved her smiles. They walked toward checkout together, talking easily. She laughed at something he said. And the sound threw me like glass. That laugh used to be mine. Those smiles used to be for me. But I'd traded them away for a few weeks of feeling chill with someone who disappeared the moment things got complicated. I never made it to checkout that day. Left my cart in the aisle and drove home, where I spent the rest of the weekend wondering if she'd told him about me, if she'd warned him about men who make promises they don't keep. Men who take faithful love and twist it into betrayal. My parents invited me for dinner last month. First time since everything happened. Mom hugged me, but it felt different. Careful. Like she was hugging someone she didn't quite recognize anymore. "How are doing, honey?" she asked, but her eyes were sad. I wasn't her boy anymore. I was the man who disappointed her. Broken her heart by breaking someone else's. "I'm okay," I lied. "We saw Sarah's parents at church," Dad said during dinner. They asked about. My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. What did tell them? That we hoped we're learning from mistakes. Learning from my mistakes. Like this was some kind of educational experience, instead of the complete destruction of everything good in my. They miss. Mom added quietly. Despite everything, they said they missed having around. That almost broke me. Sarah's parents had loved me like their own son. Her dad had taught me to change my oil, taken me fishing, talked to me about marriage like I was already part of the family. Her mom had saved recipes I liked, remembered my birthday, called me when I was sick. They missed me. Past tense. Because the person they'd loved didn't exist anymore. I'd killed him when I chose betrayal over faithfulness. The worst part is the dreams. I dream about that night at Emma's apartment constantly. But in the dreams I leave. I remember Sarah sleeping at home, trusting me. I remember 4 years of love and faithfulness and choose them over temporary excitement. I wake thinking maybe it was all a nightmare. Maybe I didn't actually destroy everything. Then I roll over and see the empty space where Sarah used to sleep. And reality crashes back. Some nights I dream about the proposal. In the dreams it goes differently. I never meet coffee shop Emma. I see Sarah working late and bring her dinner instead of feeling neglected. I celebrate her promotion instead of resenting it. When I get down on one knee, she cries happy tears instead of heartbroken ones. Those dreams are worse than the nightmares. I still have the ring. Keep telling I'll return it, get the money back. But returning it feels like admitting it's really over. Like accepting that I'll never have another chance to love someone the way I loved Sarah. The way I should have loved Sarah. Last week, I ran into her coworker Jenny at the coffee shop. Different coffee shop, obviously. I can't go back to the place where everything started. "Oh," Jenny said when she saw me. "Hi." The awkwardness was suffocating. Jenny had been friendly before, always asking about wedding plans, joking about being a bridesmaid. "How's Sarah doing?" I asked, hating for needing to know. Jenny's expression hardened. "She's doing great, really great. That's good, I'm glad." Jenny's voice had an edge. Because she spent months thinking she wasn't enough for. Wondering what she'd done wrong. Blaming herself for choices. Each word was a. Sarah had blamed herself. The most selfless person I'd ever known had tortured herself wondering why she wasn't enough to keep me faithful. I never wanted her to blame herself. I said weakly. Then should have thought about that before decided another woman was more important than girlfriend's heart. Jenny left without another word. Left me standing there with my coffee, choking on the truth. Sarah had blamed herself. Had probably spent weeks analyzing every conversation, every moment, wondering where she'd failed, when the failure was entirely mine. That night, I almost called her. Sat with her number pulled on my phone for 2 hours, wanting to tell her it was never her fault. That she'd been perfect. That I'd been the broken one. Too insecure and selfish to appreciate what I had. But what right did I have to her peace of mind? I'd already taken her love, her trust, her faith in forever. I didn't get to take her healing process too. So I didn't call. Added it to the growing list of things I'd never get to say, never get to fix. The apartment lease is next month. I could renew it, stay surrounded by the ghosts of what we used to be. Or I could move somewhere new, try to start over. But starting over implies I've learned something. Ground somehow. I'm not sure I have. I know I was wrong. Know I destroyed something beautiful for something meaningless. Know I the best person I've ever known because I couldn't handle feeling ordinary. But knowing and changing are different things. And I'm terrified that I'm still the same man who chose betrayal over love. Still the man who would rather feel special than be faithful. Emma, coffee shop Emma, texted me last month. Some random, thinking of, message like we were old friends instead of co-conspirators in Heartbreak. I deleted it without responding, but it sat in my mind for days. Did she ever think about Sarah? About the woman whose we'd destroyed for a few weeks of excitement? Or was I just another story to her now? Another bored boyfriend who'd made himself available? I'll never know, because I'll never ask. Some questions don't deserve answers. Yesterday, I drove past the restaurant where Sarah and I had our first date. 4 years ago, she'd been nervous, spilling on her dress and laughing about it. I'd been nervous too, trying to impress her with stories that weren't that impressive. But she'd listened anyway. Laughed at my jokes. Told me about her dreams of traveling, her plans to change careers, her hope of finding someone who'd adventure through with her. I could have been that someone. Should have been that someone. Instead, I became the cautionary tale she'd probably tell future partners. The reason she'd be careful about trusting too completely, loving too freely. I'd wanted to be her forever. Ended being her lesson instead. The ring sits in my desk drawer now, next to bank statements showing the money I'd saved. 3 months of sacrifice for 30 seconds of rejection, the math of my failure laid out in numbers. Sometimes I take it out and imagine the conversation we'd be having if I'd been better. Planning the honeymoon. Discussing kids. Laughing about something that happened at work. But imagination is all I have left. Imagination and regret, and the growing understanding that some mistakes don't get fixed. Some betrayals don't get forgiven. Some loves don't get second chances. The hardest part isn't losing Sarah. It's knowing I never deserved her in the first place. She gave me 4 years of faithful love, and I repaid her with lies and betrayal the moment things got difficult. She deserved someone who would choose her every day, especially on the hard days. Someone who would celebrate her success instead of feeling by it. Someone who would work on their relationship instead of working on someone else. I wasn't that someone. Maybe I never could have been. But she found someone who was. I have to believe that. Have to hope that the man helping her reach high shelves is the man who'll choose her every morning, who'll love her ambition, who'll give her the forever I promised but never intended to honor. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. in an apartment that feels more like a tomb than a home. Writing it because maybe someone else will read this before they make the same choice I made. Maybe someone else will remember that temporary excitement isn't worth permanent loss. That feeling special for a moment isn't worth being empty forever. If you're thinking about betraying someone who loves, don't. Whatever think are missing, whatever think need, it's not worth what'll lose. Trust me. I collected coins with trembling hands, worked overtime shifts, walked to work in the rain, all to buy something beautiful for the woman I loved. But when I finally placed that gift before her, she looked at me with pity, and showed me the trip to Ireland she'd been planning. Her gift was our future together. Mine was the end at everything we'd built. Now I sit alone in an apartment full of ghosts, holding a ring that will never find its finger, learning too late that some mistakes echo forever and some hearts, once broken, learn to for someone else.